Hello, welcome to Tank Takedown Milestone 1. To begin, I will show you my scripts and then I will go into the Unity project itself to show you the gameplay. For starters, we have my singleton script, which controls the game manager, allows all game manager functionality without actually affecting the manager itself. So this allows a control of the instance of the game manager, will prevent a second one from being created, will not destroy it on load, and protects it by destroying it, or with destroying it. Next is the AI controller. To start, we have access to the bullet prefab and the enemy's fire point. I have a timer set up to where it will shoot after a 3-second delay. Next is the tank motor script, which controls movement for currently just the player. It has access to the character controller component as well as the transform. Here for the movement we use vector 3 and simple move. And for rotate we use a vector 3 as well and transform rotate. For tank data we have variables for the movement speed, the slower reverse speed, the rotation speed, as well as a basic health system with max health and current health, and setting the current health equal to the max health at the very beginning, or on start. Next is the input manager, which controls the player movement, as well as the input scheme. It requires the components of tank data and tank motor, and has access to them, as well as the bullet prefab and fire point. And I have set up a timer to 1.5 seconds before the player can shoot again. So here we have set up the handle input, which currently is controlling the input scheme. So here I have listed the scheme for the arrow keys, where you move forward with the up arrow, move backward with the down arrow at a slower speed, and rotate right and left at a speed of 90, and the exact same for WASD and their respective keys. And then here is the code for the shooting mechanic. Player presses space to shoot and has to wait 1.5 seconds before they can shoot again. Lastly is the bullet script. It requires tank data component, has access to the transform as well as tank data, has variables for the bullet speed as well as the damage it deals. So for the update function, I have it set to always move forward. I have a deal damage function to subtract health from the tank in question based on the bullet damage, and if the health is less than or equal to 0, it will destroy that object. For its collider, we have it set to collide and deal damage to an enemy and a player, and will destroy itself on collision with any other object. I was unable to properly implement a timer for self-destruct on the bullet, and I was also unable to get the damage to actually work. The bullet will collide with other objects and destroy itself on collision with other objects, but it does not change the enemy or player health values. Now for the scene itself. Here I have the player, the enemy, and a basic wall to help detect non-AI or player collisions. For the player, you have access to its respective scripts. It has a rigid body, and In the hierarchy, you can change the input scheme from WASD to the arrow keys, and so on. For the enemy, it has all the same components as the player, except for the input manager, because we don't want the player to control the enemies. And then now I will show you the actual gameplay. Alright, the current input scheme is set to WASD. As you can see, the enemy is shooting periodically, and the bullets destroy themselves on collision with the wall. The player can also shoot, but I have to wait in order to shoot again. And the bullet is still destroying itself on collision with the enemy. Player has the basic movement and a slower reverse speed than forward speed. And there we have it. That is my game as it currently is, and thank you very much.